Welcome back to another episode of RNT Fitness Radio. Today we've got a really cool episode, super inspiring. One of our clients, Krishan Khanna, recently completed an amazing transformation where over the course of a few years, he's lost 55 kilos. That's right, 55 kilos. So he's gone from over 125 kilos right down to 70 kilos, where he booked himself in for a photo shoot and looked incredible. If you've been following us for a while, you might remember last October, we did a transformation giveaway and we were giving away 3 months free. And Krishan was actually the winner of this. So he started working with us last October. He was around 100 kilos then. He'd lost some weight on his own. And then when he started with us, his goal was always to take his physique to the next level. Earlier this year, he said to me, why don't we do a photo shoot? And I said, yeah, definitely. Let's sign up, get it booked in. And, 10 months later, we're another 30 kilos down. He's in the shape of his life and he's about to go traveling for 4 months in Southeast Asia with the most confidence ever. He feels the best he's ever done. And, I couldn't be happier for him. In today's episode, we go through his journey, the mindset that he went through, especially for people who, they're starting a long journey ahead of them. If they've got such an enormous amount of weight to lose, it can be very, very daunting and overwhelming. So today we dig into that mindset that Krishan took to, start at 125 kilos and go all the way down to 70 kilos, ripped, in amazing shape. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to this one. It's going to be a great one. Enjoy. Cool. So let's jump straight in. And why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more who Krishan Khanna is?
So I am a 23-year-old postgraduate, just finished law school, and I'm going to be training to become a solicitor next year, and I'm about to go travelling for 4 months before that starts. I don't think there's anything else that more interesting about me, to be honest, that anyone would want to know.
Yeah.
I'm just a standard guy, I guess.
So for the listeners tuning in, Krishan just completed probably one of the best transformations that I've been a part of. It's been really inspiring. Over the course of a couple of years, he's dropped 55 kilos, and in the last year in particular, he dropped 30 kilos. And Krishan was actually the winner of the October competition we ran last year, where we're giving away 3 months free. And he won that competition and then has gone on to continue losing body fat. And then we recently just completed a photo shoot. And at the photo shoot, he said to me that he wanted to come on the podcast and, really tell his story, because the journey's been incredible. And I'd really like to dig into, I'd like to spend today, digging into what you've been through, what the start point was like, and, the mindset that you went through. So why don't we kick it off by talking about the start of the journey? So let's take it right back and give the listeners some stats of where you were at. And
obviously it's a long journey. So I think most people that see the numbers go, shit, that's a lot of weight. And I suppose it is when you think about it, like when you look at the stats, but it's happened over a prolonged period of time. So at the worst point, I said a high point, but it wasn't a high point, it was an extremely low point. Yeah, so I was saying that that obviously I think when everybody looks at the kind of stats in terms of the weight drop, it's a huge amount of weight, and it is a massive amount of weight, but it's happened over quite a prolonged period of time. So back in summer 2013, that was probably my highest weight, and I've been overweight since, I should say past tense, I had been overweight for pretty much as far as back as I can remember. So I'm talking back to the age of 9 or 10 years old. I was always the fat kid that had dustbin syndrome, that used to have poor eating habits and just not a good relationship with food, I'd say. And I think that kind of just built over years to the point that when I was at university, and obviously I was in an environment where I was just meant to be in control of everything about my own life, and you're exposed to this whole new environment of eating and drinking and all the freedom that comes with it. I just made loads of bad decisions basically, and yeah, my low point I suppose was being about just over 120 kilograms in summer 2013. And what had actually happened is that I'd been on a night out at the end of summer at university, and I'd had a fall in a nightclub, which was quite a funny story at the time. But basically the long and short of it was is that I dislocated my kneecap and I actually couldn't walk for about 10 weeks. So no movement at all in my legs. And over that period of time, I was just eating and eating and eating and drinking. And, body fat that was already there accumulated a lot faster. And yeah, I was just extremely depressed with how I looked and felt at the end of that period. And I knew that I had to do something quite dramatic to change how I look and felt. I didn't really know what I had to do at the time, but I just knew that I had to stop eating it at some point. So that was when the journey started. And since then, it's kind of like, yeah, I've lost weight in tranches, I'd say. So it's happened over a few periods. Obviously, the last year with RNT being the last one that I've done where we've dropped, I was just over 90 kilos when I came in, right? I think, I can't remember exactly.
It was about 96, 97, I think.
Yeah, so it was, I was still pretty heavy at that point. But by the time I'd come to you, I'd already lost a lot of weight. So yeah, it's been a long journey. And the mind state, I think, has changed a lot throughout that journey. So when I first started, it was that I needed to do something. I didn't know what it was, but I needed to do something because I was in a bad way. And then slowly I wanted to kind of start educating myself a little bit more and maybe like just trying to do something that was a bit more sustainable, because I mean, I've tried pretty much everything under the roof. So I think a lot of people talk about different diets that they do. I think I've tried a lot of the main ones, so I can speak quite openly about the ones that do and don't work, especially long term. But it's been a very interesting journey.
When you were at that point where you were at your lowest point, you were over 120 kilos.
Yeah.
What was the first step you did? Because that can be incredibly overwhelming for someone, right? Because I know people who are so overweight and they want to make that change, but it's just such a long journey. There's no end light. There's no end point, right? Can't see the light in the tunnel.
And that's the thing. Like you're stuck in this cycle where you're just abusing yourself. Because I think people don't always understand that actually, like, overeating and like eating too much food and just abusing yourself in that way, like that is a form of abuse to your own body, in the same way of people drinking alcohol or taking drugs, that kind of thing. Like to me, like I knew that I was eating and I was just stuck in this cycle where I couldn't just, I don't know, like I knew that it was not good for me, but I just couldn't seem to stop myself from doing it. It was crazy. But I mean, that's the thing, is when you're that heavy, amazingly, you can drop a lot of weight by simply just not putting as much food in your mouth.
Yeah.
So I think I must have dropped like maybe 10 kilograms, where I wasn't even doing any exercise specifically in terms of getting in the gym or doing, cardio. I just stopped eating so much food, like I just ate less food. And then the weight started to just kind of drop off. So I'd go through cycles where I just binge eat basically, and I just wouldn't be able to stop myself from eating loads and loads of junk food. And I just basically stopped myself from doing that. So just giving myself like 3 meals a day where I'd eat like just a normal meal. Just by doing that, like my weight fell off pretty fast. And then after that, I started introducing what I thought was best, which I just thought, right, I just need to get on the treadmill and start running, and hopefully that some more weight will fall off. And over that period of time, I again dropped a little bit more weight. But when you start off like that heavy, you don't really have any kind of sense of what you need to do. You just need, you need to do something. And often is the case, it's just like trying to stop or put the brakes on some of the bad things that you're doing. So that was what I had to do when I started.
And then say you've dropped 5-10 kilos. I'm guessing your physique was still a long way from where you wanted it to go, right? So how did you keep yourself motivated?
I remember being just over 100 kilograms and coming back to university and kind of feeling better, because obviously, I'm still pretty overweight. But at the same time, I look a lot better than I used to do. Bearing in mind, like one of the other things that I used to really struggle with when I was so big was the fact that I'd walk into a shop, right, and I'd want to buy some clothes, and I literally couldn't fit into anything. Like I used to dread walking into the shops having to buy clothes for like holidays, because I'm looking at extra large, like every single time. Like my trousers, like people have seen the photos from my photo shoot, like that's a 42-inch trouser that I had to wear for my first suit when I worked at John Lewis, because I couldn't fit into any other trousers that were available to buy in the shop. So it was seriously embarrassing. So after I'd lost that first amount of weight, I felt a lot better, because I was actually just fitting into clothes that you could buy in the shops normally, which is like quite an amazing feeling. Because they always say, like, when you lose weight, you see it in clothes first. So I was like, even though I wasn't happy with how I looked topless, sort of thing. Like the fact that I was fitting into clothes like that I could enjoy wearing a little bit more, that was a positive. And then you kind of have that initial period where you have lost like 20 kilograms, or like you've lost a lot of weight. So everyone's like, "Oh, you look amazing! Like you look really good." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I look great. Yeah, this is cool. I'm enjoying this." And then I think after a little while, that kind of honeymoon period of everyone telling you that you look great, kind of wore off, and I was like, "But I'm still really overweight, and I still don't enjoy how I feel or look." So I've got to carry on, and I've got to try something new. So again, yeah, it's just like trying to pick new techniques and new methods. But yeah, like it's a strange one. Like, you know, you realize that a lot of it's like you can be initially happy with yourself, and then once that wears off, you want to go again, and you know you need to find a new method of doing that once the old ones don't work anymore, I suppose.
So it happened in separate cycles, essentially, right?
Yeah, I'd say probably like I'd say 3 big cycles. So the first one where I lost that initial weight, where it was just like doing cardio, and I used to use like some thermogenics. So I was using you know, have you ever, you know, the grenade detonate, the one that looks like a grenade? Yeah, I was using that. I used to just sweat so much, and I was just like a fat sweaty guy running around, but I mean, it worked. And then after that, I started getting in the gym, but I was never really doing any weights. I was just doing a lot of cardio. And then started doing a little bit of weights, but literally had no idea what I was doing. Just injured myself loads, basically. Started going to a few classes and stuff like that. And then, yeah, eventually came to the final period, this last 12 months, where obviously I found out about RNT and joined them. The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah. One more question on the initial weight loss periods that you had. What did you find were like the biggest struggles and obstacles that you had to overcome during this period? Besides I
remember just being I actually used to dread walking into the gym. Like walking into the gym was like an incredibly embarrassing experience because I just felt embarrassed to walk into a gym. Like, you know, like you're that overweight and you just don't feel confident walking into a place where people are taking care of their bodies, I suppose. Like you're like, yeah, this is an embarrassing experience. And then I think
how did you overcome that?
How did I overcome that? I don't know. Like you just develop a mentality that, like, you know, like if you're going to do this, like you just got to do it. You got to, like, you know, a lot of it is like you just got to close your eyes and you've got to do it. And it's amazing actually because that was the mentality that I had to take to get into the gym, like over that summer when after I'd damaged my knee and got back to walking and stuff, and just dreaded getting into the gym. And I just used to say to myself, like, you've just got to do it. You've just got to do it. And it's amazing, like in the last 4 weeks of my grind with RNT, like, you know, just before my photo shoot, like it's amazing how I was saying to myself those same things, like, you've just got to do it because, you know, like, this is like a proper dark period. Like, you know how dark a period it was for me, like coming into those last weeks before my photo shoot. Yeah, it's amazing how you can tell yourself the same thing, even at 2 completely different sides of the spectrum. But yeah, you've just got to do it. And if you want to make a change like that dramatic, then you know that you've got to do something different to what you're doing at the time. So it was that. So yeah, walking into the gym was certainly an embarrassing experience. And then I would hit weight loss plateaus and not really know what to do. And I was killing myself in the gym. So I was doing a stupid amount of cardio, just loads and loads of cardio because I just thought it burns. Like I just thought, it burns calories. So hitting weight loss plateaus and not really knowing what to do. And then also just being like, I think the standard thing, which I've seen so many people say, which is like, I'm really good for Monday 9 to 5. And then on the weekend, I just rebound and everything falls off. And then on Monday, between Monday and Friday again, I'm just actually not making any progress. I'm just recovering what I did over the weekend. So yeah, like I'd say those are the big problems that I faced.
So 2 really good lessons there, and from this whole initial transformation. I think the first one is for people that find the journey so overwhelming, the number one thing is just to take action and just do something, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's
in the gym. It's
really difficult. Yeah, it's so hard to make that decision to make it like a change. But just by doing, like, think about the little steps, you know, like think about the micro, don't think about the overall picture of like the fact that you've got to lose X amount of weight, because actually you never really know like what you've got to do until you start doing something and your body and your mind start responding to what you're doing, kind of thing. So just start by making like a small positive change, and then like, you know, that in itself will probably yield some good results, and then you'll probably get the confidence just to keep going and just see where it takes you, kind of thing, you know. Yeah. Don't think about the overall macro, like the big picture of what you've got to do, because obviously that could dwarf you and put you off completely.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's shift gears now towards starting with RNT. Firstly, like what made you want to? I mean, I know you won the competition, but what made you want to? So you said you were going to sign up anyway. So what was your kind of impetus saying, okay, I'm going to sign up to RNT?
I was like, yeah, you'll be pretty upset, because I was literally on the verge of joining RNT that weekend. So I'd been following you on your Instagram page. So I don't know how I stumbled across you. I think probably through Sham, because I knew Sham and Rishi from Buckingham, from primary school, and you're obviously friends with Sham, right? So I must have followed you on Instagram through him after seeing him do a few, like, you know, transformational things, and then I followed you on your grind towards your competition, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this guy's crazy. Like, this whole thing is like, this is a whole new level. Like, what is this kind of stuff? And obviously you guys post a lot of like freely open educational stuff. And one of the things that I'd been wanting to do, and I suppose follow for a while, is kind of like how to get your first chin up. And you'd written an article about how to get your first chin up and how to test your body strength and all these different kinds of things. And so in the run up to joining RNT, I was about to go on holiday. I signed up for your free 30-day plan, which is absolutely brutal. For anyone who hasn't done it, he's thinking of doing it, but it is really good. And then what I said to myself is that if I can do this 30-day plan and see some positive results, I'll have sort of proved to myself that I'm kind of like, you know, that I'm ready to do like an actual structured plan sort of thing. Because one of the things that I used to do is join gyms and just waste the memberships and, you know, just make a plan and waste it. So yeah, I did the 30-day plan. I'd been following you on Instagram for a while, and then I'd got my first chin up by, you know, doing this, by kind of implementing some of the techniques that you've been talking about. So those are the kind of things that got me thinking, like, yeah, these guys are, you know, they're obviously kind of solid in their knowledge of the industry and like fitness in general, and they seem like pretty good guys in terms of the content there, right? So definitely be interesting to work with you. And then just looking at the client transformations, like the wall, which just like seems to endlessly scroll, and it's just like, wow, like, you know, these guys are just churning out the results. Like, this is obviously like the kind of thing that I need to help me take it to that level that I want to be at.
Yeah, and then
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Sorry, I just stopped there. Just thinking back to that moment that I won the competition, because it was so, like, I used to do this routine where I'd be like, Monday I'd go to the gym and do back, and I just deadlift. But I never used to know why I deadlifted, because all I used to do is hurt my back, and I just injure myself constantly. But I remember I used to deadlift on Monday, and then Wednesdays I used to go to boxing class, which was basically just an hour of HIIT. So used to just destroy my body. I was just thinking back to the time where I won the competition, and I was doing a deadlift, and I was like, I fucking hate this so much. And I got a notification on my Instagram saying, congratulations to Krishan, you won this 3-month transformation. And I was like, oh my God. And the deadlift, I was like, this is incredible. This I never win anything. But yeah, that's why I just often think about that. It's quite a funny moment. I was like, this is going to be amazing.
Trip down memory lane.
Yeah, literally feels like a long time ago now.
So what would you say was the biggest difference from when you started working with RNT? Would you say it's the structure you had, or?
Yeah, I think more than anything, just like the holistic approach to not just like, so firstly, having a structure in terms of training, education, about eating, but also just like the overall thing. So it's like, you know, the changes that you make are lifestyle changes rather than just being like short-term diets. So, you know, you have a training schedule that you follow. So I'd never followed the training schedule before. I literally used to go to the gym. Sometimes I go with other people, and so I'd just be following stuff that they did, and things that just didn't work for my body. So like I said just now, like deadlifts. Like I used to just constantly injure myself doing deadlifts. But I used to just carry on doing them because everybody said that you should do them. And one of the first things that I said to you when I started was like, this is where I'm at. Like I don't particularly enjoy doing deadlifts. I don't know why I do them, but I just keep injuring myself. And you're like, you don't need to do them. And we haven't done deadlifts in my program for the last 12 months, but my back is like the strongest, how my back looks. But yeah, just following like a structured process, learning, educating myself about food was huge. And yeah, just like getting into the mind state of like feeling proud about and, taking care of yourself and just like learning, because there's so much to learn once you get into it. And I actually find it really interesting. So yeah, just like the whole thing has just been completely different to anything I've done before.
Yeah. And a great point you made there is the whole, not needing to deadlift. Because people think you have to deadlift or they have to squat or you have to bench press. But
the
reality is, you have to do exercises that work for your body type. And if a deadlift is constantly making you injured, then you're just going to keep banging your head against brick wall, right? And like for yourself, we realized the RDL worked pretty well for you, right?
Yeah, so we knew that the RDLs worked well, but then at the same time, my back takes a little bit longer to recover. So we worked out after a few months that doing bent over rows and RDLs 2 days apart on heavy legs and then a heavy back day didn't allow me to recover as quickly as optimal to be able to do like a full day split. So you said you don't need to do them both. Like we can just pick another exercise. Then we started focusing on doing chin ups and like weighted chin ups instead of doing bent over rows. So yeah, that's like, yeah, I suppose if anyone's like wondering like why would you want to pay the money to have a coach, it's like because you need somebody on the ground that can just like tell you to make a decision to make a change quickly and can objectively look at something and use that experience that they've got. So that was obviously amazing for me because I just thought like I'm obviously doing something wrong, but it's just my body. Like you've got to listen to your body and the way that it responds to the exercises that you do.
Yeah, perfect. So you've started RNT now. You're a couple months in. What was the impetus for wanting to go all the way to photo shoot level? So there's one thing losing weight, and there's another thing going as lean as you did. Because by the end, I mean, you were pretty damn lean, and not only did you just lose a lot of the body weight, but you built a real physique as well. So you built a lot of muscle in the process as well.
Yeah, I think I came
seeing big weight loss transformations. You have to see big to small, but you went from big to having like a real good physique by the end as well. So what was the impetus to saying, okay, I want to do a photo shoot now, which we know takes a lot more than just dieting per se?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose when I started, it was like, okay, I just want to be healthier, and I want to improve my confidence. But then by the time it got down to those, so when I first started, I wasn't sure whether a photo shoot was for me because I just didn't know if that was the kind of thing that I wanted to do. I just wanted to be healthier. But then I realized that actually, like, it's a massive journey that I've been on, and I didn't really realize it maybe until the very last period. I was like, this is big. Like, this is a huge change. Like just the reactions that I'm getting from people when I see them, like literally, like you bump into someone on the street, and what the hell has happened to you? And I didn't realize it until I started speaking to people, and like seeing people after a long time. But yeah, like the photo shoot was actually just a way of marking the fact that I'd achieved. I mean, I'd probably say this the best thing that I've ever achieved in my life. Like it's a massive journey. So like the end point of just finally getting to a position where I could stand in a gym without a top on and just be like, yeah, I'm proud of the way I look, and just mark the occasion for the fact that I've lost a huge amount of weight, shed a lot of demons on the way, like just mentally as well, and just being in a much better place mentally and physically than I've ever been. So yeah, like that was why in the end I decided that the photo shoot was the right thing to do, because you've got to mark that kind of occasion, because you've got to have something to look back on, and also something just to show for the fact that you've been through that kind of journey, I think. So yeah, that was why I got there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always reminded by, I think it was an email you sent me maybe 6 weeks before the photo shoot, and you said to me you were at a pool party, and you said,
oh yeah, I went to I went swimming with my two mates, and like the first time I took off my shirt, and I I was just standing there, like standing in the changing rooms of the of where I was swimming, and I was just like, I'm actually really happy with how I look, and just like I got in the pool, and like I used to get in the pool like on holiday. Yeah, I was that fat kid who used to get in the pool with a t-shirt on, and like the t-shirt would just be sticking to his moves when you got out, and like I'd just be like a walking plastic bag like that looked wet. I just, I used to be so embarrassed by my body that I used to, wear t-shirts in the pool, never want to get in the pool. And I was there like, yeah, like, this is 6 weeks, yeah, probably 6 weeks before the shoot. I was like, I feel good. Like, this is amazing. And just like, just like thinking about it, like lifted a weight off my shoulders. I was like, I've never felt like this before. Like just being able to get in to a pool, like with other people and feel good and actually just feel confident with how I felt. Like, yeah, amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was amazing when you said something like, I don't quite believe that. I didn't quite believe that was actually me just standing there with my top off. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this was something that became a common theme after that, because you kept almost, you developed almost like a fear of what you were going to look like, almost. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I kept thinking about. You were saying at the meetup, you were like, this every time I drop weight, I'm in completely new territory.
Yeah,
like almost like you shouldn't be there, right? You had that kind of feeling.
Yeah, your mind and your body almost tell you like this is like in those final stages, your mind is like just playing so many tricks on you. It's like the devil, and it's just like like stop, basically, like stop. And then the other half of you's like, no, I want to push this further. Like I want to see where this goes. And then it's crazy. Like I used to say to you, didn't I? I used to say like in those final few weeks, like the morning period, like the morning hours used to be like the darkest time, where my entire body would just be like, you need to stop everything that you're doing right now, and you need to just go back to whatever you were doing before and just stop. And then in the afternoon, I'd be like, yeah, I feel great. This is the best. I look amazing. I feel amazing. And then I'd go through that every day for like last month. It's just like crazy feeling. But yeah, your body just like your mind and your body just like they're in completely new territory. So yeah, it's a weird one, definitely.
Let's dig into that a bit more. So talk to us about the biggest struggles you had during the photo shoot.
So you mean like coming up to the photo shoot?
Yeah, let's talk about like say the last 2-3 months of it.
I mean, apart from the very strange digestive issues that I experienced. What I'm saying to anyone is that anyone who goes through like those final periods of dieting, just expect weird stuff to start happening internally. And feel free to share it with your coach, because it turns out that he's perfectly happy to hear about it.
And he can share some stories with you as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, we were like, it's just weird to be like exchanging stories about your digestive system with your coach, but like, yeah, okay, fine. Like respect to you for just putting up with that, and just like it was weird. But the main challenges in those last 2 to 3 months, I mean, so it's making the small changes felt a lot bigger at the time. So like we used to drop macros a tiny amount, but in those final periods, like it feels like a huge amount of food dropping when it's only like, I don't know, like say we drop fat by like 5 grams, or say we drop carbs by like, a small amount. In those final periods, I feel like you feel those tiny changes a lot more. And any slip ups are kind of like magnified a lot more. So you've got your window for error changes a lot, and it becomes a lot smaller. And I'd say other than that, actually, the tiredness, like fatigue, like becomes a huge factor. So especially in the last 2 months, I think fatigue like was the biggest like factor that was like kind of bringing me down on a daily basis, and like just trying to like fit everything in, like maintaining weights in the gym, like going to work. So like holding everything together at the same time whilst getting more tired was a really difficult part of it. Just trying to think if there's anything else. But
what kept you going in that period?
Well, I suppose by the final period, it was this thing that you talked to me a lot about, which was like defining your why. And mine had changed a lot throughout the journey. So it had gone from wanting to be healthier, wanting to be more confident, and then like I'd actually achieved those things with like 2 months left. And then it became more about thinking about, so I listened to this really good, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, like especially when I was kind of deep in the diet, because I was always looking for new material to kind of like motivate me and kind of like just inspire me to push me that a little bit further. And I listened to this really good one which talked about, like when you're going through this period of struggle, you need to think about who you are as a person and like what your overall story is. And that story that you want to tell the world and when you want to tell yourself, and like what is your story, and what is it that you think defines you. And it made me think like, yeah, like I've had this like negative relationship with my body for a lot of my life, had a negative relationship with food, and just like story like in this period is defeating the demons in my brain that are telling me to stop right now, and going on to that final step and getting into a position where I'm photo shoot lead, so I can tell the world that like this is I did it, like I overcame that obstacle in my head. So that was my story, and I used to just tell myself that every day, like this is your story, like you've got to do this because like it's going to define you, and it has to an extent, like because I feel completely different now. So yeah, that was just saying that to myself every day, like this is your story, like you've got to do this, and nothing else matters, like this is the only thing that matters right now, so making it the number one priority. That was the most important thing. Yeah,
that's powerful. How did
sorry.
you balance?
I was going to do one more thing. As I remember being on the train on one of those, maybe the second to last week before the photo shoot, and I remember getting off the train and texting you, being like, I literally felt like I was going to collapse, because it was that 1 hour period on the train where, like I wasn't eating my meals like first thing in the morning, because I was eating less food. I was hitting 20k steps a day. I was doing an hour list in the morning, and that hour on the train where I was standing up at rush hour would literally just kill me. And I felt I was going to collapse one morning, and I looked up, and on the board there was just this thing that said, before the triumph comes the trial. And I was like, God, the Lord is literally speaking to me right now. And yeah, I used to just say that to myself. I was like, before the triumph comes the trial, before the triumph comes the trial. Every time I nearly felt like just throwing it in, I was like, before the triumph comes the trial. And yeah, I said it to myself even before I went and did the photo shoot. I was like, no, I did it. I actually did. Like, this is mad. So yeah, it's crazy.
The amazing thing about putting yourself through like a transformation, like a real, when you take yourself to that real dark place, is how transferable the skill will be now. Now that you've done this, you probably think you can do anything, right?
Oh yeah, I literally, I used to say like, yeah, if I can do this, I can do anything. Like there's nothing, and I do feel like that, which is probably quite a dangerous thing to feel. I could do anything, but yeah,
especially heading into Southeast Asia, eh?
Yeah, yeah, I could be a lady boy. Oh no, but no, I feel like the confidence that it gives you is crazy. Like you just start believing in yourself a lot more, and you actually just start feeling proud of the things that you've done, and you just realize actually that overall, like there's so much good in your life that until you're in a happy mind state, you can't actually appreciate. So yeah, you just feel good in general. It's an amazing feeling.
Awesome. So how did you you were saying you're on the train, you had an hour journey into the city. How are you balancing all of this? Like talk to us through a day, how you balance between working in the city and doing everything that, say, the last 4 weeks of a photo shoot really demands of you, because up till then everything's pretty easy sailing.
Yeah.
It's that last 4 week nitty gritty period where you have to be organized and you have to sort your life out, right? So how did you balance?
Well, I tell you that the main thing is that preparation is everything, because you have to literally you have to sort of just computerize the whole process to the extent that you're kind of just like, I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to do my steps. I'm going to walk to the station. I'm going to eat at X, Y, and Z time. I'm going to go to the gym. Like you're kind of just like cutting out any margin for error, because this is this thing that you talk about a lot, which is it's like decision fatigue. It is a real thing, unfortunately. So there is truth in it. But yeah, so firstly, just being organized and reducing that margin for error, because by the time you get to those final 4 weeks, you're hungry, but actually, like you kind of just got used to being hungry all the time. But it's the tiredness and that lack of judgment that can really cost you, I think, when you're in those final periods. So yeah, preparation, and then other than that, just being willing to do whatever it takes to kind of like hit your target. So like I used to say that to myself, like, okay, hitting 20,000 steps a day is like, you've got to do it. Like, it's non-negotiable. Like, you just got to do it every single day. The food was not so much of a problem in the sense that I think in the last few weeks we just put ourselves, like, you put me on a meal plan because we were noticing like a few discrepancies in terms of like my weight was fluctuating a lot, wasn't it? So once I was on the meal plan with what you said, I was like you've just got to do it. And then the gym was like, it was horrible in the last, you know, I got myself to a stage where I actually really enjoyed working out, and I do now like enjoy working out. But those last 3 to 4 weeks before the photo shoot, I hated going to the gym because I had no energy. But again, you just had to do it. Like, you had to maintain the weight in the gym and just you know, get the time on the clock and get it done. So yeah, it's just employing that mindset where it's just like by any means necessary. So, you know, walking, you just kind of like plan your life around steps. So I remember going to the pub once only because I still had 4,000 steps to do. I was like, okay, fine. Who can I go see? Like, I'm going to go to the pub, have a Diet Coke, walk up and down the pub, and then come home. And that's exactly what I did. And I hit my steps, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine, that works. So yeah, you just got to do anything it takes, anything.
I mean, even
never
for me
make
now, like I'm in like a prolonged muscle building phase, right? So my average steps are anywhere between 6,000 and 10,000 depending on the day. I couldn't even imagine doing 20,000 steps right now because, you know, it takes so much up. But a year ago, I did it when I was in prep. I did it for 6 weeks straight towards the end, and we were just starting RNT, so we can imagine how busy we were, right? So it's amazing how when you've got that goal, you can normally being a song on stage. It's amazing how much you're willing to do to get to that point, right?
Yeah. And I think like the best thing about steps. So firstly, actually, I actually really enjoyed going for a walk in the morning because I never used to do it. And then once I started doing it, I realized that actually when I came back in the morning after, say, you know, 30 minutes, or if it was up to an hour, by the time I came back in the morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do with my day. My brain was really clear, like, you know, my heart had been pumping. And, you know, like, I felt really good. Like, I felt in a good place to start the day, and you have like an initial boost, but you just feel like, you know, you're going to have a really productive day. So actually doing steps in the morning was actually very easy because I used to actually enjoy it. But then the really good thing about it is that you can just work it into your life. So, you know, like, walk to the station, don't take the bus, walk at lunch. Like, I personally can't walk on the treadmill because I don't like walking inside, but I used to just walk outside. I used to walk, and yeah, you just make it part of your lifestyle, and it's not actually that difficult. It's really not.
No, especially if you work in the city, because you can get off a stop earlier. You can go for a walk at lunch. You can do it in the evening again. You can get off a stop earlier or walk to a later stop. Just do things like
I initially started walking from near Holborn to just to Tottenham Court Road, which used to be like half an hour, which was 10 minutes more. And then that was initially, and then by the end of the journey, I was actually just walking. I thought, okay, I'm just going to walk the entire Central Line bit that I take. So I walked from Holborn to Baker Street, and that was like an hour-long walk. And I was like, okay, fine. I just walked through central London, looked at loads of like nice places in London, and got in like a shit ton of steps. Like, yeah, I could do this every day. So I just did it.
What you find is when you start working, you're more productive, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, your brain is just like, it's just ticking better. You're functioning way better.
Awesome. So now that you've completed the transformation, how has it inspired people around you? Your close family, your friends. What have they said? Like, how's it affected them? Is it positive, negative, anything?
I think in terms of inspire, like, I wouldn't say that I don't know if I've inspired anyone, but I think definitely like my younger brother. So obviously my little brother came to the photo shoot, and he's like seen me go through like the complete highs and lows of the last year of like dieting and kind of just like going through this transformation. So I really wanted him to be there. And he's just become way more like interested in fitness, and like he went to the gym for the first time a few weeks ago, and he's got like his own little plan. Like, he's only 12 years old, so he's just doing like push-ups and stuff. But like, he's just become way more like interested in like looking after himself and just like, you know, just educating himself about health. Like, he comes home and tells me about the different things that he learns about at school, because he knows that I've been kind of educating myself about it at school, not at school, but like, you know, with RNT and stuff like that. So yeah, just seeing like the positive impact it's had on him as like a little kid has been like, it's like, yeah, that's really nice. And yeah, just like my family, like, my family obviously have seen a huge change in me. And I used to get people at work, like, when I was working at John Lewis, like I used to get a guy that used to come up to me at work and ask me what he thought I should do. And I was like, what? I don't know why you're asking me, but it obviously shows that I've done something like correct.
You'd be surprised at how many people you have inspired, because we've got a ton of messages of people saying how good your transformation's been, and they've only seen the picture of the trousers.
This is the thing, like some of my friends have been like, what the hell was that photo? I was like, yeah, I was like, I haven't even dropped the real photos. I'm still trying to pick the photos. I think I picked them now. But you know, all of the photos that we got, shout out to Escort Visuals. Amazing photographer. Amazing. I really enjoyed the photo shoot, and yeah, so yeah, when the actual photos drop, I'm sure like, you know, there'll be quite a good reaction. But yeah, I think my brother definitely, like, just seeing the fact that he's become way more like interested in just like looking after himself is a nice thing for me, because obviously as a kid, one of the reasons why I was in the position that I was in is because I just didn't really have any regard for like looking after myself, and that obviously caught up with me as I got a little bit older. So yeah,
that's awesome. What about yourself? Like, how do you feel now? How's the transformation changed your life? What are your next goals?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the best that I've ever felt in my life, and not even physically, just mentally. Like, I feel like I'm a lot happier. I can just give more time, and I can just give more of who I actually, you know, give more of myself to the people that I enjoy spending time with. So like, you know, one of the things that you guys talk about a lot is, so one of the things you talk about a lot is like progressive overload. And one of the things that I realized, like, as I've gone through this journey, is that that's not actually something that just applies to training. Like, it's not just about putting weight on the rack. It's actually like, if you can improve your life just a little bit every single day, like, you know, whether it's like doing something positive for yourself, or whether it's just like having a positive influence on someone around you, like, you know, if you can do something little that improves your life or someone else's life every single day, like, you're going to be a happier person, and you're going to be in a much better place. And it's like, I realized that, like, that's a true thing. Like, it's 100% true. And yeah, the other thing that you talk about a lot is this decision fatigue. And I didn't realize when I started the journey that I actually had to cut out a lot of negative energies that were kind of just holding me back, just to go on this journey, because it's a really difficult journey, and you need to give yourself, you know, you need to give 200% to be able to commit yourself to it. So now I'm in a position where I feel like I've only got, you know, influences and people and just things in my life around me that I want to be there. So actually, yeah, just mentally, I feel like I've got so much more headspace now. And because of that, I'm just a much happier person. And yeah, physically, like, yeah, I look a lot better than I used to, obviously. And I'm happy with how I look, which obviously helps. And I'm going on a holiday for 4 months. So I'm sure that will hopefully help me. But yeah, in terms of my goals going forward, is just like practicing balance. So just trying to live a balanced life, in terms of, you know, not ruining this hard work now, and just pushing on. And then when I come back at the end of the 4 months of my traveling, I want to go through a prolonged bulking period, and, you know, really put on some mass and some size, and just work on the physique that I've started to build this year with RNT. Yeah.
No, it's incredible. And, you know, I've said it before, and I think your transformation is definitely up there as one of the best. And not only from the physical, but, you know, as you just said there, the mental shift that you've had in all areas of your life. I think it's truly life-changing. And
yeah.
At the time of your life.
Yeah. One thing that I want to say, just to anyone who's listening to this podcast, is a lot of people, and I think you guys probably, like, you want to, you know, you say like, why should people join RNT, and why should people have like an online coaches and all this stuff? And I want to say that this is like completely unsolicited as well. Before I say this, it's like 4 weeks ago, like before my photo shoot, I was on the verge where I actually did want to just stop. because I thought like my body couldn't take it anymore. And I remember sending Akash like a long email being like, I think this is the end kind of thing. Like, not saying that I'm quitting and I'm just going to go back to being 120 kilograms and be a fat guy, but I don't know if I can take this anymore kind of thing. And he literally phoned me up at work about 20 minutes later being like, don't do this. Like you're close. I'm literally here for you. Like I've got you every step of the day. And yeah, like he was literally there for me like every single day in those final 3 weeks, like where I was going through like the darkest period of it. So for anyone who thinks like, like, why should I have a coach? Like, why should I sign up to RNT? Like these guys, like they know what they're doing. But genuinely they care about you, and they know when to push the buttons and get the results too. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, man. Like for everything that you did. Like honestly, I couldn't be grateful for that.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. And where you want me to transfer the money?
Yeah, and also he's great with any consultation on digestive problems too.
Yeah. In all seriousness, it's an absolute pleasure, and you've done amazing. And I think what we'll finish off with now, we'll finish off with a quick rapid fire. So I haven't told you these questions. So
Oh, crap.
Okay, so we're going to go first one. This is probably quite topical for you, but finished a hard diet as you did. What was your favorite cheat meal?
Amazingly, just like mum's home cooking. Like, so I've eaten out a lot over the last week, but actually eating my mum's food, just like eating like proper curry, like cooked, like with no holds barred, amazing. Like flavor, because you lose all sense of your taste buds lose all sense, right? Like all you eat is like sweetener. And even that, gosh, pulls in the last few months, by the way, guys. So don't get too addicted to sweeteners or anything like that. But yeah, like, just like mum's home food cooked is good. Yeah.
Awesome. What's the place that you're most looking forward to traveling to?
Vietnam for the food.
Okay, great. And who should we have on our podcast next?
Oh, who should you have on your podcast next? Oh, that is difficult. I don't know. But what I will say is that I really enjoyed the one with is it Bedros?
Bedros Keuilian, yeah.
Amazing. That was amazing. That was an amazing one. So I know I just deflected the question on the spot, but
go on, give me one person.
Kanye West.
Okay, well, we're talking realistic here, right?
I honestly couldn't think of one. Sorry, I'm not very good with names and stuff. But yeah, Bedros podcast was amazing.
Yeah, he's got a really inspiring story there, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that he said in that was he talks about being a good boss, but he says it's a dimmer, not a light switch. And that's talking about like the fact that you can't just be perfect in one day. So, like you make all these mistakes, but it's a dimmer, not a light switch. You can get better with time and just improve slowly. Yeah,
I think that's a great place to end it. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Krishan. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be releasing. This will come out in probably a week before we release the case study, or maybe a couple of weeks before. So we'll be releasing the case study after this podcast comes out. But in that case study, we're going to talk a lot more about what we've talked about today, and put it into writing so you guys can check it out and read more about what Krishan's gone through over the years, and how he, especially the mindset that he took leading into the photo shoot that we just did. Is there any place you want people to follow you, or are you happy with all that?
Yeah, just hit me up on Instagram, I suppose. Slide into my DMs.
Okay, and if you've enjoyed today's episode and you think other people would benefit from hearing Krishan's story, please share the episode and leave a positive review. For more information, you can always follow us on Instagram at Akash Pagela or at Adam Haley with the number 1 at the end, or at RNT_fitness. For more educational blogs, please hit up www.rntfitness.co.uk. Thanks for listening.